Hello and welcome. My name is Troy Whitehead. I am part of the Crossroads communications team here. Today I get the privilege of interviewing our very own Kyle Reed, and Kyle's got a very important job here to do at Crossroads, and I'll just let Kyle take it from there. So Kyle, tell us about what you do here on a daily basis.
Yeah, thanks, Troy. So my job title is Director of Facility Operations. So I guess I oversee janitorial, maintenance, kitchen, events, building as a whole, and right now also the COVID response takes up a bunch of my time. So.
Sure, yeah, I bet it does. Before we get too much into COVID, let's just find out how the Lord maybe brought you to Crossroads originally.
Sure, yeah. I guess as a family, we started attending Crossroads about 9 years ago. So I'm married, 5 kids. But originally, I went to school to be a civil engineer, worked in industry for about 10 years, and then, never on my radar to work in a church. And I took a friend out for lunch one day, and he just said, we got a couple jobs open in here, and you should come back into the church and when we get back and say hi, kind of thing. I'm like, why would I work in a church? But Lord had different plans, right? So went in, had a quick chat, and been here 5.5 years now. So
wow, good for you. So in that 5.5 years, tell us maybe what your typical day looks like. What happens when you show up at work every day?
yeah, so obviously there's the natural tangible task list that you got to take care of in a building like this. But also my role is kind of different in that I work with all ministries. So whether you're youth or worship or wherever, it doesn't matter. I just try to support them in any way I can so that they can kind of help live out our vision for Central Alberta. And so in that, we just help them to steward our money, our time, our resources, our building, of course, that we've been so blessed with. So
cool. And I know that your world has been flipped upside down like most of our worlds. And you, more than anyone here, probably has had to deal with the changes that COVID has brought upon us. Maybe just touch on that a little bit, Kyle. How has COVID influenced what you do and some of the challenges there?
Yeah, so as a natural rule follower, it's been pretty difficult when there's no set of rules to follow, right? So that's been hard on my head. But I guess starting in March and April, just really dove into the sanitization, the cleaning, the understanding how we could do an online world with so much uncertainty. And then now as we regather, relaunch, trying to figure out how we can use the relaunch guidance that the province and Alberta Health Services has provided to us, and use the documents and do that safely and from a place of safety and respect, but also without living in fear, of course. And so that's been difficult. But I think the biggest challenge is probably we've had to go from a yes culture. We try to serve people, serve ministries, to a more rigid and more of a rigid no culture. So that's probably been the hardest on our team, as far as, I know we can't lend you that room or that piece of equipment or whatever. We just can't right now.
You're now known as the COVID cops.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's I'd rather say yes than no. So
Sure.
It's tough.
Talking about the building, are there any, this might be something that people might be interested in that may not know otherwise. With a church this size, there's got to be a little obscure or unique spots, corners, rooms that maybe they don't know about. Can you share any of that with us?
Yeah, like on a building with this size, of course, there's a lot of behind the scenes type mechanical rooms, electrical rooms, storage rooms that people wouldn't see. We have a large basement downstairs, which is storage and houses a bunch of the guts of the building, if you will. We actually have a catwalk above the sanctuary. I'm not sure a lot of people know that we can get up there and we can hang stuff from. The roof has a ton of cool features up there, and spent a lot of time up there when there was that catastrophic damage from that storm in 2016.
Sure.
But I guess one thing that's pretty interesting is we're actually an emergency operations center for the county of Red Deer.
Okay.
So we have a lot of infrastructure around that, including a big generator that we maintain. So if something were to happen, on the scale of even the Fort McMurray fire or something to that effect in our area, we can quickly house people and do what we can to support our community. So.
Oh, that's great. Oh, good to know. Kyle, how many team members work with you on the facilities team?
Yeah, we're currently a team of 7. So Mandy's on reception and she provides admin support. Brad and Travis are maintenance guys. And then we have Neela, Mark, and Brent. They're our facility janitors, and they host incoming groups and support them the best they can. So.
Okay. I know Mark is a new addition to the team.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about his story. It's a very unique story.
Yeah, so Mark originally came to Canada as one of the refugee families that we supported as a church. So he came in December a couple years ago, and came in the middle of winter. So that's an interesting story in itself. But yeah, so he's been part of our church body and part of the Arabic ministry here for the last couple years with his family. And then he's been working in the community. But then a janitorial role came available, and he was able to join the team about a month ago. And yeah, he's just been a great servant heart and just a great worker.
Yeah, I understand there's a bit of a language barrier there, but you're overcoming that?
Yeah. We work through it together, and we have the Google Translate, and he's got a great sense of humor, so we just work through it. Yeah, it's been good.
Cool. I also want to touch on your team a little bit there. You guys are the frontline workers here at church. Tell us about maybe some of the stories of being on the front lines.
Yeah, there's probably a few that I probably shouldn't tell, so I'll save a couple of them for later. But yeah, just the opportunity, and I'm just proud of my teammates for taking those opportunities when they're in front of them, because we are often the first time people are in a church, even like I'm here to drop something off, or I'm here for an event, or I'm here for a funeral, or I'm a contractor just hired to fix a leaky pipe, but I've never been in a church before and this is weird, and then just taking those conversations, meeting the people where they're at, and just having a real conversation. And we've actually, we've got some cool outcomes where people have come to Christmas Eve services, or just had those longer conversations because they've been put in front of us. And
I know whenever something crazy, strange, weird happens here in the middle of the night, the phone rings at your house. You're the one that takes those calls.
Yeah.
Maybe share a story or two of an incident or a time that you remember of something like that.
Yeah, so it's definitely happened a few times, but it's part of the job, and you don't know what's going to be on the other end, so you follow what you need to follow. And yeah, one time pretty recently, actually, it was during COVID here, but a few months ago we had a storm, and the power got knocked out, and so we all of a sudden got a bunch of motion sensors pinging off in the building, and so once a few go off, then people get alarmed, and our monitoring station was alarmed. I was phoned. Our RCMP was dispatched. So I had a feeling that it was due to the power outage, but you can never be sure. So show up, and I roll up in my shorts and my flip flops and
like you do every day.
Totally, yeah, totally. My steel toe flip flops, of course. Yeah, no, it's so show up kind of with an expectation. But when I got here, the RCMP did their job very well. They took it very seriously. Guns drawn, ready to get into the building. So I, followed their lead and answered any questions I could. And we went through the building and found that, yes, indeed, it was a false alarm due to the storm. And so we had some power out. So it was dark in the building. So what started with guns drawn, a very serious situation, ended with an RCMP officer going down the slide. And they had their flashlight going in the dark building. And so it was just a really cool visual, right? To know that, we're well protected, but also they're human. And so that actually led into a conversation around where they're at, who God is with them. And they divulged some information of growing up and what the church was like to them, but this is not church to them. And I said, well, our God is the same God, right? So it was a very cool moment that was placed in front of me. And so
so there's opportunity for ministry even when you work behind the scenes.
Totally. Yeah
That's very cool. Kyle, are there any upcoming projects, new things going to happen here soon? Or
Sure, yeah, I'd say we're a bit behind, so we're trying to catch up through COVID or whatever. But also our buildings, phase 1 is about 15 plus years now, so we got some life cycle things that we're catching up on a little bit, so that we're ahead of the game. But mostly the big ongoing project is just our energy management and our greening of the space, if you will. So that's pretty important as far as creation care, as Dan spoke to us a few years back. So we just try to do an energy audit of the building and just take account of where we're at and where we're wasteful. So we're actually able to change out 600 light fixtures to more efficient models. And so over our full plan, over our full project, which we're hoping to complete here in early 2021, we're looking at saving about 100,000 kilowatts per year, which is just a staggering amount of energy. So,
awesome.
So we're pretty proud of attacking that one.
Good. Well, I think I hear a toilet flooding in the building.
So that's me.
Gotta let you go, but Kyle, we sure appreciate you taking the time to
Thanks,
visit with us, and we on behalf of the church, the staff, and everyone here at the church, we are just so thankful for the work that you guys do, very selflessly and usually thanklessly. And you know, you guys do a very important job, and you do it well. So thank you very much. And folks out there, if this week when you're driving by the building or it just comes to mind, we'd ask you to just pray for Kyle and the facilities team for the job that they do. They do ministry all week long, and we just really thank them for that. And we hope you're feeling blessed this week.
Thanks, Troy.
Thank you so much.